What do you make of Kevin Colbert's comments yesterday, Damien?
I found it odd, because it was just unsolicited. Just hitting on what you had said prior to me coming on. Why do you have to announce that your quarterback, who's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and we have all the accolades to back it up, that he's the unquestioned leader of the team? It just seemed really odd to me. And the thing that really struck me about the whole conversation was the whole 52 kids thing. And as a former player, that struck a nerve with me because I'm thinking, does Marquise Pouncey think of himself as a little kid who's 29 years old, 7 Pro Bowls, 2 first-team All-Pros? I don't think he's a kid. What about Alejandro Villanueva, who served our country, as an Army Ranger, 30 years old, twice, 2-time Pro Bowler? So for a general manager to come out there, and I understand, I think that it was probably badly worded on his part, and I understand that he has to stick up for, Ben Roethlisberger after, what Antonio Brown said about him having the owner mentality. But when the locker room is a careful situation. You have to strike a careful balance when it comes to the locker room because usually players always view the front office as the enemy, quote unquote. And for you to come out here and back your quarterback up to that point, guys in the locker room start looking at, they probably already have, start looking at Big Ben as like, wait a minute, are you one of us or are you one of them? And I think that, to me, even when Le'Veon Bell moves on and Antonio Brown, we all think he will move on, it still doesn't remedy all the problems that's been going on in that locker room.
I agree, Damien. Now, obviously, wins will help all that, and Ben is just he's as terrific as they come in the NFL, so you can't dispute that. My question for you is that do you think the answer is players in the locker room asking Ben how to get better, as Kevin Colbert suggested?
Well, my thing is it up to Ben to critique guys on how to get better? So that's what the coaches are there for.
Well, but we don't question that when if Rodgers says something, right? Or Brady might say something. I mean, we don't question that, but we do with Ben.
Well, I think it's also kind of funny that Antonio Brown comes out and says that Big Ben has this owner mentality. How many guys have run to Big Ben's defense? I haven't seen anybody. I haven't seen anybody on Twitter or any other type of social media platform or television to really come to Big Ben's defense in all of this. I find that very striking that we haven't heard from anyone as it relates to this AB Big Ben saga. It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, what do you think it all does mean? Is that you've got a general manager pounding the table that his first ballot Hall of Famer is not only the unquestioned leader of the team, but has every right to question anybody else. And as a matter of fact, players should question him on how to get better. And nobody's out there saying that themselves. So what do you think it does really mean, Damien, that there's a problem in the Steelers locker room for real when Toe does meatball in the 2019 season?
I think there's going to have to be some behind-the-scenes talking going on. I know if I'm a player, last thing I want is another player in the locker room. Listen, for all the accolades that Big Ben, that you've talked about, first team, first ballot Hall of Famer, and all the numbers and all that, guess what? You put your pants on just like I do. All right? None of that matters to me. So it doesn't give you the right, just because you're Big Ben, it doesn't give you the right to go on radio or whatever other platform you have to rip me through the media. It's one thing if Mike Tomlin does that, okay, that's fine. That's my superior. That's my coach. But for a player to go on radio, it seems like every week he does that. I think, like I said, if I'm a player in the locker room, that's something that we would have to nip in the bud this offseason, because we can't run this whole saga back next season where we have drama and all those type of things going on. That would have to be nipped in the bud ASAP.
Well, I mean, Colbert gave him the green light to do whatever he darn pleases. I mean, that just happened.
I just think to me, that's a problem. That's a problem. You got the GM enabling your quarterback to do that. Again, players look at front office. They look at front office as almost the enemy. And now the front office is enabling the quarterback to just openly rip your players, ripping teammates through the media. I mean, who does that? What other organizations allow these type of things to happen? I don't see this in New England. To me, it doesn't make any sense at all. Pittsburgh is just a mess to me.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.